I'm Dan Sinker, and I'm the author of the @Mayor Emanuel Twitter feed, which was kind of an alternative reality, real-time novel about a Rahm Emanuel that was not from our dimension.
Right, and this project that you put together, it was a fake Twitter account, and you've talked about how these things are springing up. What do you think fake Twitter accounts are doing for politics in general?
Well, I mean, I think that they do a couple of things. I mean, one is they help us to laugh, at things that we might think are absurd, at things that sometimes we might think are hard to stomach. They allow us to kind of laugh in the face of adversity or just in the face of the reality that we live. I think the other thing is that they allow a new lens with which to see and understand politics. One thing about the Mayor Emanuel account was you had to know kind of who was who in all of Chicago city politics to really get a lot of the references, to get a lot of the jokes. That account did not spoon feed the reader to kind of explain who these folks are. So hopefully it led some people to actually do a little bit of research and see who names were, see what events were happening that he was reacting to, things like that. So I think it does allow a new lens to engage in politics to some degree.
Now, what would you say about how you were able to learn what people thought of Rahm Emanuel by playing this character?
Well, I mean, that's interesting. I mean, the one thing about satire or parody, especially the way that I was writing it, which was much less about making fun of Rahm Emanuel and making fun with Rahm Emanuel, was that people could read in their own thoughts into the character. So you actually had at one point a fair number of kind of far right wingers embracing the character, to the degree that I actually needed to write a couple of things to really clearly delineate a line that this was not being written from that point of view. So it actually was at one point directly engaging Michelle Malkin in Twitter in order to kind of shut her down.
Now, how do you find, it seems like, okay, so we could say there's Stephen Colbert who has the Colbert Report, and how do you place what you did in the economy of satire? I mean, do you think this is the next generation of satire, that people bring it into these new mediums?
Absolutely. I think I think whenever we see a new medium, we always see people experiment with ways of using it to do things that we've always done, and one of those things is satire, right? I mean, satire is a genre that dates back to the Greeks, really, or even before that, and we always see experimentation with satire because I think there's a natural inclination to be able to kind of poke fun at the world that surrounds us.
Now, did you consider this a journalist project as you were doing it, or was this more of an artistic project in your opinion?
This was entirely not journalism. It was fiction, and it was much more an experimentation with form and an experimentation in the medium than it was a journalistic process.
Right. I guess my motivation for asking that would be just in that it allowed you to catalog an event that was going on in time in a different way.
That's an interesting thing. As the Twitter account, there's now a book that's the Twitter account, but because so much of it was written reactively, right? Because so much of it was written in response to things that were unfolding in real time, all of the tweets are annotated. And writing those annotations is suddenly writing a shadow history of the entire campaign. And those are much more journalistic in focus. So you actually have a documentation of sometimes down to the minute when a candidate might drop out, or when new poll results were coming in, or that sort of thing.